All right, if you're a data professional, you know the drill, right? That classic headache of trying to get your precious data out of a SQL Server database and into some kind of analytics platform. It's usually this big, complicated, slow process. Well, today we're going to talk about a feature that pretty much promises to change all of that. So let's just break this down. On the left, you've got the old way, and we've all been there. You're wrestling with these complex ETL pipelines, you're dealing with high latency, which just means your data is basically out of date the moment you get it, and you're juggling a whole bunch of different tools from different vendors. But then, look at the right. This is the Fabric way. Simple mirroring, near real-time data, and it's all inside one single integrated platform. I mean, the difference is just night and day.
So, what is this new, almost magical solution? Well, it's called Fabric mirroring, and it's designed from the ground up to make it incredibly simple to connect your entire SQL Server world to your modern analytics setup.
So at its heart, mirroring in Fabric is, well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It is a built-in feature that continuously replicates your SQL Server databases right into Fabric's central data hub, which is called OneLake. And the most important part here, it completely sidesteps the need for all those complex, brittle ETL jobs.
And you can see just how simple the whole idea is right here. Step 1, you connect to your SQL Server. Step 2, the data just starts replicating into OneLake continuously without you having to build a single pipeline. And just like that, step 3, you have unlocked the full power of Fabric for all your analytics, your AI, and BI needs. It really is that straightforward.
Okay, so what is actually happening behind the scenes when you set this up? Let's pop the hood for a minute and take a look at what actually gets created inside your Fabric workspace to make all this magic happen. The moment you enable mirroring on a database, Fabric automatically creates two very distinct but very connected items for you. You can think of them as two sides of the same coin, and they work together to give you that complete end-to-end experience from raw data all the way to real insight. So first up, you get the mirrored database itself. This thing is the workhorse. It handles all the continuous replication into OneLake. And, this is super important, it automatically converts your data into the open source Parquet format, which is way more efficient for analytics. This process creates the perfect foundation for all the data engineering and data science you want to do downstream. Now, the second item is where things get really cool. It's the SQL Analytics endpoint. This is a read-only T-SQL endpoint that sits right on top of your mirrored data in OneLake. What does that mean for you? It means you can use the same SQL commands you've been using for years to explore the data. You can build views, stored procedures, all using the tools you already know and love, like SQL Server Management Studio or even VS Code. It's amazing. All right, so that all sounds fantastic in theory, but what do you actually need to get started? Let's dive into the user manual, the practical, need-to-know stuff before you jump in. First things first, compatibility. For SQL Server 2016 all the way through 2022, mirroring works on standard, enterprise, and developer editions. And under the hood, it's using something called Change Data Capture, or CDC. Now, for the upcoming SQL Server 2025, it uses a new feature called a change feed, and it's going to need a connection to Azure Arc. So the bottom line is, just make sure you check your version and edition before you get too far down the road. Okay, what else do you need? Well, you're going to need a data gateway, either on-premises or in a virtual network. If your SQL Server is tucked away behind a firewall, this gateway is basically the secure tunnel that lets the data flow into Fabric. And like we just mentioned, for most current versions of SQL, it relies on having CDC enabled on your source database.
Now, a quick but really important word of caution here. You've got to be mindful of your production workloads. That initial data snapshot, the first big copy, it can cause a temporary spike in CPU and I/O on your server. Also, if you have long-running transactions, it can cause your transaction log to grow, so you'll want to keep an eye on that to make sure it doesn't get out of hand.
All right, now for the question that's probably on the mind of every single DBA watching this. What happens if you're using always on for high availability and a failover occurs? Does the whole thing just break?
And the answer is refreshingly simple. It just keeps working. Yep, as long as the new primary server, the one that takes over, has the same permission setup, mirroring just continues on seamlessly. It's designed to handle failovers gracefully, which, let's be honest, is a huge relief.
So, we've covered how it works and what you need to get it running. Let's wrap this up with the best part, the ultimate payoff. Let's talk about the cost and the incredible benefits this all brings to the table.
Now, the pricing model is where the value proposition just becomes crystal clear. Take a look at the left column. The compute power, the actual engine running to replicate your data from SQL Server into OneLake, is free. You do not pay for that data movement. What you do pay for is the storage your data uses in OneLake and, of course, any compute you use to actually query it with tools like SQL, Power BI, or Spark. This makes getting started just incredibly cost-effective.
So this really leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? The technology has made it easier than it has ever been to bring your critical operational data into a world-class analytics platform. The question is no longer how you're going to do it. The only question left is, once your data has been mirrored, what new insights, what new patterns, what incredible value are you going to discover?